Okay, so we have covered almost all the topics in our Introduction to Database course. Now we have to complete or start this lecture 13, that is database design. So what are the processes available in this database design and what objectives we will cover? So let us see that one. So last class up to this normalization part 2 we have discussed. So this is the lecture focused on how to design the database. What are the steps to follow in order to design the database? So the objectives that we cover in this lecture 13 is your database design should be a part of information system. What is information system? You have studied in the course Principles of Information System. So in that information system, the design of your database is only a part. It is like a subsystem. So that objective we will cover in this first one. The second objective, uh, the successful information systems are developed within the framework which is known as systems development life cycle. So this also you have studied uh, in your principles of information system about SDLC. So now let us see the first objective. So that is the first two objectives. So some more objectives are the framework that you know SDLC. The same way, database design has to be uh, done by following the framework. So what is the name of that framework? Is DBLC, yani database life cycle. So this is the framework we have to use or we have to follow in order to design the successful database. So after you design the database, we have to evaluate it, we have to review the database, okay, until and unless we meet the objectives of our business. So in designing the database, we follow different methodologies, different designs, plans, like top-down approach, bottom-up design, centralized design, decentralized design. These things we have studied already in the second lecture. No, in the first lecture we have studied the types of database, centralized database, decentralized database, those things. Okay, now we will move on to the term information system. What is this information system? So information system is a system that will provide you the data, that will store your data, that will collect your data. It is a big one. It is a big system. Information system means. So ours is the database is only a part of that. Only a small part. Ours. What is that database? What you are going to study? What you are going to learn? So when you look at any information system, for example, like your student information system. So student information system, if you are designing, it is a big system. It is a huge system. Student information system, that portal what you have, where you will see your timetable, where you see your transcripts, where you see your grades, etc. So it is composing of the data, it is storing the data, it is retrieving the data. So see, this is a big system where you have your grades, your student lists, attendance, instructor timetable, student timetable, what courses you are studying, and your complete transcript. Okay, then some other services. This is your complete information system. Okay, so what this system will do, we enter your data, where that data will go, hmm? In your system, in student information system, where your data will go, hmm? Tell me where your data will go, your attendance, your marks, where it will go. Tell me, students.
A database management system.
Yeah, into the database, the data will go and store into the database. Into the database. So whatever information you are typing, so that information it will go and store into the database. And also it will collect the database. It will collect the data. It will store the information. Also, it will collect the information. Hmm. and also it will retrieve the information. So from here, again your information will be retrieved there. Means it will get the data. It will store your data. So this is your information system, student information system, SIS portal. So this system contains many things. In order to develop this system, it has many things in this system. It needs hardware, software. It needs people to develop the system. So in this one, database is only a part. It is like a subsystem. So this is the complete information system. So that is what is trying to explain here in your slide. What is information system? It contains, it provides you the data. It will store the data. It will retrieve the data. This contains people, hardware, software, application program, procedures, databases, etc. And what is the definition for this system analysis? This is nothing but a steps, the process that establish the need for and the extent of information system. So why we want this information system? In order to have the SIS, what is the steps we have to do? So that is followed in this term, system analysis. Development, the process of creating information system. Okay, now the next slide we will go and we'll learn this objective. Performance factors for an information system. That means in order to work this system, in order to work the system faster, quickly, without any strucking or data lagging, what are the factors? Carefully, you have to do the database design properly and write the commands. Implementation means what you studied in lecture 3 until lecture 9, until lecture 8. SQL commands: insert, update, delete, create, function, procedure, trigger, cursor. All these things you will use and implement the database. And you will do the design. Design is also an important factor. Properly, if you don't design, your system will become slow. You have to follow certain procedures of administration. So administration like implementing the rights. If you are logging, you can only see the data. Other people cannot see the data, and you will have your own permissions. The other users will have their own permissions. So that administrative steps we have to follow, and that will be the performance factor for your information system. So you have to consider these things, database development also. The last lecture what we are studying. So that can also be a good factor for performance of your system. So process of database design and its implementation. Okay, in order to make your system work faster, we have to consider these important factors. Now let us go to your SDLC, Systems Development Life Cycle. What is this one? So it will take you back to the history of what an information system is. You can read the complete information about the system. It will give you the complete picture in which your database design and development of your application are mapped out and evaluated. So if you read that system development information system, you can do the mapping to your design and to your development process. These steps are repeated STLC, iterative rather than sequential, repetitive process STLC. You are going to repeat them. Repeat until your business objectives are achieved. First, collect the information, design the system, implement the system, test the system, then evaluate the system. So these are the steps in order to do your development process. Systems development life cycle. It is a repetitive process rather than sequential. So time to time, when you complete a function, you deliver it to the customer. customer. So you have to repeat the same process again to improve the system. Like you have Windows 10 is released, then they keep on, like after 6 months or after 3 months, they will send you the updates. So the updates has to be installed so that your product Windows 10 should become stable, perform faster, manage your data faster. So such type of repetitive steps you have to do rather than sequential. So this is for your SDLC. See, these are the steps actions that you will take in each phase of your life cycle of a systems development. You see, the first phase is planning. So, in this phase, what are the actions that you are going to perform? Suppose I come to you at the college, our School College Applied Science will come to you. They will say that I want to develop a new student information system. You are the developer, so they will ask you. So, what first step you have to do when you do the planning? First, do the assessment of the initial system. Conduct the study, feasibility study. Feasibility study means with the existing resources what you have, with the existing people what you have. Can you develop the system? Can you develop the system with that feasibility study? See, what is the meaning of feasibility? So you have to describe the project, outline what could be the results, how do you evaluate, and state the solution is feasible for the project and conclude. Feasible. So for this, you are going to do the study to make your system feasible or not. So that is the steps we will do in this first phase before you start developing a new information system. Next step. Now you are going to do the analysis. So in order to develop this one system, student information system, what is the requirement? User requirement. Who are the users? The college is going to use the system. So inside the college, there are many people, student, teacher, head of the department, admin staff, registration staff, dean, many people. So what is their requirement? That you have to study, analyze. Existing system. So currently, what type of system they have, that you have to check. Then you design logical system. After studying, you will go for designing the logical system. This is what you studied in lecture. Logical design of your system. Like this. Student information system. In that you have like attendance, okay, timetable, marks, okay, then courses. So such type of entities you will think and create in this stage, which is known as your analysis phase. So logical design. Let me charge my laptop battery. It is very low. Okay. Okay. So in the second stage of the systems development life cycle, you will analyze the data, then design the logical system. Third phase, when you move on, the detailed design. See, now you don't have any details. Just you said that now you have just this information. You have just this system design, something like this. So by taking this, you are going to do the design of the system. Like, for instance, ERP, you are doing now the same concept here. So SIS, you are going to do, and it contains like student attendance, okay, marks, grades, then your courses, etc. Now this does not contain any detailed information. Now in the third stage, you are going to develop the details. So what is student entity contains? What are its attributes like ID, name, mobile, family name, okay, gender, your phone number, email ID, etc. Then you will go for the other details. Primary key, foreign key, constraints, etc. that you will do in this one. Now The fourth phase is writing the command. So when the design is ready, you are going to write the commands. What are the commands? Create table student like this. After that, you will insert data by using insert command, update command, delete command. Many things, whatever you studied from lecture 3 until lecture 8, all the practical things you will do in this stage. So once you design your system, then last stage phase is maintain it. So you have to do the evaluation and keep improving the system. So this system is completely designed. Lastly, what you have to do, you have to improvise. Suppose this login screen is not good, not user friendly. You have to change the design, make the design easier for the user to use. So that process is in the last phase. So this is your systems development life cycle. So I explained to you now what you are going to do in the database also. So that and this both you are going to do it in parallel. Any questions still here, students? Any questions still here?
No?
Now, in order to design your database, we have to use tools. I told you what tools you will use. Case tools. These are called case tools, computer aided systems engineering tools. So this is used by the architect, system architects. So they use these tools, database designers use these tools in order to design your system. So software names I have given you in the last class when you learn ER modeling, like this one, draw.io, creately. Many online tools are there, these tools. So with this, we can develop or produce a better system in very less amount of time and with minimum cost. So quickly we can design and show to the customer about the database design. So many applications are going to be structured and standardized and prepare a good documentation by following this, by using these case tools. So when you use these case tools, the operational life of the systems will be improved. It is easy to update and maintain the system, and it is very much less costly, cheaper. So most of the tools are free. If you use them, we can maintain our data properly. We can improvise our data properly, do the updations properly. So this tool, what I show you, this one is free of cost. This you have to use when you are completing your assignment 3. So such type of case tools will help you to produce your system better. Now you have seen SDLC. What is DBLC? Database Development Lifecycle. So we are telling that the college is asking you to develop this new system, student information system? What is your strategy? What life cycle you will follow? So these are the different phases you have to do in order to develop the database for student information system. So in each phase, what are the actions you can take is described to you here. Existing system in your school college, analyze existing student information system. What is the problem in that system? Identify, define what should be the conditions, limitations, constraints. Then you have to define the scope, the objectives of the system, boundaries, the limitations of the system. After that, you will go back to your lecture 9, 10, designing, conceptual design, the outer layer, outer view. You will do it, creating the conceptual design. Then you choose which database software you want to use. Oracle, MySQL, Access, PostgreSQL, MongoDB. There are many softwares. So which one you will use? That selection you have to do in this phase. Then you will create the logical design. After that, you will create the physical design. So these are the three designs you will do here: conceptual, logical, and physical design of your database. So what is this one? This one is a beautiful example. So see, conceptual model for the student information system means just like this. You will do the entities. Student, course, enrollment. Now in the logical model, you will give what is the attribute of the students and which is a primary key, which is a foreign key you will identify in this layer. The third level of design, you will define the data type, the size, the constraints, etc. So this is a beautiful one. So I want this one. Cannot take this one image. You understand what I am trying to explain you students? This is what the database developers will do, design in this stage. In this stage. You have you are the database developer now. So what you will do first, you will design like this. Then next stage you will define attributes. Then next stage you will define the data size, etc. The relationship see one to many, many to one, such type of relationships. So third stage is after this design is ready, you start giving the commands. Install the software, create the database. So how to create the database, create table like that. Then load the data. So use the commands, SQL commands to insert the data, make the system ready. Then test your system, test the database, whether it is working perfectly or not. Use PLSQL programming. Fine tune your database. Do some adjustments so that the data should be retrieved faster, like indexing. So when you do the indexing on the student ID or any primary keys, data will be retrieved faster. So fine tune the database. So check the database application programs. All these are the steps performed under this phase. Now the fifth phase, operations. Produce the required information flow. So from this system, so I want to produce what is your timetable. So I have to select this and click this, whether I get the proper information, correct information or not. Jawahar, you are my advisee. No, no, this is my. So this is your timetable. So like this, check whether the data produced by you is correct or not in this operations. Last stage, maintain. Any changes you have to do, you can introduce the changes here in this system. Any updations, any corrections, those things you can do in the last phase of your database lifecycle, that is called maintenance and evaluation. So this is the complete life cycle we will follow in order to do the design of the database. So systems development life cycle is different. This is applied for the entire system, and this is only a part of your database, a part of your system database design. This only is one single unit. This clear, students? Is this clear, students?
Yes, Mister.
Yes,
See,
Mr. Clear.
initial starting study, what you will do, analyze the company situation. I told you here, this one. So these four steps that you will do in this one. Initial study. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what are the problems? What is the objective, the goal of your system? Define the boundaries. What you are going to do in the system, that is called scope. What things you want to put in the system. So such type of study you are going to do in the initial stage. See, these are the some activities, summary of activities in the database initial study. So the company situation, objectives, scopes, everything you will study and define the problems, constraints, then database system objective. What is the objective of your database system? Like student information system database, what are its objectives? What is the scope? What is the boundaries, limitations? So these things we are going to do in this initial study of your database, the first stage. Second step, database design. This one is explained to you. Now this one, database design. So you are the programmer, you are the analyst, you will design the procedures, steps in order to do the conversion of data into information. What is data and information? This is your data. So this data you have to convert like this. This is the responsibility of yours. You are the developer, you are the programmer, you are the designer. So database design is a repetitive process, not a sequential process. So again, you have to improvise the design, review it, check it, and improve the design. See here how the managers of the business and the database will see. Company side, the student information system. See, you will have different departments: engineering, purchasing, manufacturing, accounts, finance. This is the manager point of view. This is the design. You are the technical people, database developers, designers. So for you, how must the data structures, how we should structure the data, how well the data should be accessed, how it will be accessed, how it should be transformed. This is your worry. This is your point of view. You are the database designer. The manager of the business, they will think like this. What are the problem? What are the solutions? What is needed in order to implement the solution? Such type of questions will come into the mind of business managers. And such type of questions will come to the mind of database designers or the developers. Now, implementing the third stage here, implementing and loading. So, how we are going to do the implementation, install the software. Then, after that, see here, virtualization is a concept. So, virtualization you will come to know in the course operating system that you are going to make use of the resources, computing resources, independent of the physical resources. So you have, for example, 4 GB of memory RAM in your laptop physically. In the virtual systems, it will show you maybe like 8 GB or 10 GB. So that concept we will use when you are going to install the software, DBMS software. So create the databases by using the commands what you studied in lecture 3, lecture 4, lecture 5. construct the tables, load the data, insert, update, do the maximum, minimum, average, count. Those functions you can apply. Implementing and loading. Now, implementing and loading here, then creating the database is the design process. What are the steps for conceptual design? Entity relationship modeling you are going to do. You are going to do the normalization steps here. First normal form, second normal form, third normal form, BCNF, fourth normal form. All those activities that you will do in this stage, conceptual design, in this phase. Then you will select the software to install. After that, you will convert this design into logical design. Tables, columns, constraints, relationships, those things you will design here. Then the last stage of design, physical design, storage details, indexing details, security information for the users, how to access the data. Those steps, those procedures will be performed here. This is what your design process. Now the last but one stage is testing and evaluation. So test your data. Suppose you are logging with your user ID and password. So if your user ID password is correct, then only you can open the database. Otherwise, you cannot. So password security, physical security, accessing permissions, audit means accounts checking, storing the data in a secret way encryption. All these things diskless workstations. Means you will not have any hard disk in your client computer. It will be stored in the server. So server will have the hard disk, not the client computer. Optimization of your data. These are all steps you will do in this testing and evaluation. Testing and evaluation. Then there are certain types of backups, database backups. You know what is the meaning of backup? What is the meaning of backup? Can anybody tell what is a backup? Hmm? Backup means what? Can you tell anybody?
To save Mr. Something and drive something like this.
You are going to save your data. You are going to create a copy of your data. Suppose your computer does not work, then you have your data stored in your USB drive or hard disk, external hard disk. So that will retrieve your data. So there is a steps here, the process called uh, database backup. So what are the different types of backups? See, the first backup type is called full backup or full dump. It means all the objects of the databases are backed up entirely, the complete database. So in your SQL developer, Oracle SQL developer, you can do this one. Complete database you can back up. When you open your SQL developer, and when you log in, so these are your objects, tables, indexes, views, package, procedure, functions, triggers, sequence. These everything you can take a backup. You can do the backup, take a backup of the data. You can export database copy, you can create, and you can export your tables, and many things you can do. Okay, so you have the options here how to take the backup of the data. So full backup means full everything whatever is there in this schema, that will be backed up. That is one type of backup. The second type of backup is differential backup. Differential means the meaning, see the word here, difference. Already you have some data. To that data, I am updating only some data. Like example here, you have here the data of this is employee, Al-Jamil, Muhammad and Sarah. So I have already the backup here in the system, all this data. But now I am trying to change the data of Sarah. So Sarah, she is becoming from manager to president. So I will update the information here. So only take the backup of this one. Only take the new changes, the difference. Old data, don't take the backup. Just copy this new change and store it into the database. That is what called here differential backup. Only the modified objects, only the modified objects you can collect and you can store as a backup. Next type of database backup is transaction log backup. Transactions means what type of transactions are happening there in the operations, like insert operation, select, update, delete. So these operations, that what are happening has to be backed up. So if you back up your data, it will give you high security. Nobody can access unauthorized data. So these are the three different types of backups you can do. In the short answer questions, they will ask what are the different ways of creating the backup of your database data. So you have to write full backup, differential backup, transaction log backup. Explain these things, don't just write. See, there are many reasons why your database fails. What are the different sources? What are the common things from which your database may get failed? One is the reason maybe the software is not performing well. See, software failures, software failures will lead you to the loss of or the failure of the database. Oracle, Oracle software is not performing well, then your database may get failed. Next is another reason, your hardware. So inside your server, there is a hard disk. Hard disk may fail, RAM may fail. Okay, bad disk sectors. This could be the reasons for the failure of your database. Second reason, so if you have hard disk failure, it will bring your database to stop. Number three, programming exemptions. See, application programs or the end users may roll back. Roll back means you are going to the previous stage of data when you are going to meet certain conditions, when you are going to meet certain exceptions. So due to that, your database may get failed, it may not work properly due to improper code, improper or malicious code. Like hackers nowadays, they send the viruses, they will spoil your data present in the database. Programming exceptions. So hackers will find many ways in order to hack your data from your database. So that could be one more reason for the failure of your database. Next is transactions. At the time of doing the transactions, if you are canceling your transaction, see, system deadlocks may be detected and aborts. Aborting means canceling one of the transaction. Deadlock means you will be in a situation where you cannot proceed further, where you cannot go backward. You are in an arrested position, like in your traffic jam. You cannot go forward, you cannot go backward, you cannot go right side, you cannot go left side. So transactions when you are doing for your database, if you see such type of problems, then it will lead to your failure of database. See, when this deadlock will happen, when many transactions, executing multiple simultaneous transactions. So millions and millions of customers are accessing your database. So that time, so it will lead to the deadlock of your database, which is a failure reason. Other factors, maybe like other factors like the floods, high temperature, okay, maybe due to water, rain, fire, earthquake, natural disasters. That could also be the reason. So we have to protect our database from water, from heat, from cold, etc. So backups we have to take. So when your system is damaged with fire, when the system server is damaged with water, everything, if you have a backup, then we can create a new database from the backup. That is why we have to store, save the information. So whenever the hurricane comes, it will spoil your data. Much millions and billions of loss it will bring. So software can be failed, hardware can be failed, your programming might be the reason, another is transactions, last one is the natural disasters. So from these different sources, our database may not perform well or completely stop. So we have to protect our database. This one. Last step, maintenance and evaluation. So how you will maintain? I told you the simple step is preventive measures you have to take, back up the data. If it is lost, then you have to recover the data. Follow certain steps in the maintenance process. Give only permissions, like see, to access your student information, I cannot delete your marks. I cannot delete your attendance. So if I put your attendance absence here in your SIS, I cannot do any changes. Only the registration people can do. They have the permissions. Who am I? I am the teacher. My permissions are different. I can just log in. I can store your attend. I can put your attendance. But the maintenance of the attendance, those things can be done by the registration department. So they have more power than us. You are telling teacher drop this course, teacher add this course. We are not doing that. Registration people are doing that. They have the power. We can just post the data. See here, this information we cannot change. This is already locked. Can you see? I cannot delete your absence or present. So this can be done by the registration department. So they have the permissions. Such type of permissions you have to assign to which users. Okay, then generate the statistics of the database access. Who is accessing at what time? Morning who is accessing, evening who is accessing, night time who is accessing, which tables you are accessing, in which tables you are doing the insertions, which table you are updating the data, which table you are deleting the data. All the statistics is up. Get it. Periodic security audits every week or after 2 weeks. Check the security, perform the security audit. So how often the system is used, periodic system usage summary. So these are the different steps that you can do in order to maintain your database. To maintain, we have to follow these steps. As I told you now, both should be done parallel. See, compare the activities. Same, but database is a part of the system. These are database activities. These are the life cycle activities of your system. See here in the database, you are designing this one: conceptual design, logical design, physical design. Conceptual, logical, physical. And here observe in the detailed system design, screen, report. What is your screen? This is your screen. How I can log in, how I can take the attendance, how I can change my password, okay, how I can enter the grid, how I can generate the timetable. This is the design that is called systems design. But you are the database people, you are designing logical, physical, conceptual, like that. Implementation, you are loading the data, you are inserting the data by giving the commands insert, update, delete, like that. So here in the system development, your prototype means design, the appearance of your system, testing the system. Then finally, both are put into operations, into use. Database you have to maintain, the complete system has to be maintained. This one also you need to maintain, as well as this also you need to maintain. I will stop here. The remaining things I will complete in the next class. Students, try to complete your assignments and put the outputs. You take the snapshot after you generate the output in your system. So when you are running some command, update, insert, delete, you are doing the output, whatever you generate, is the output. Take the printout of this, like print a screen in your Word file for your question number 2 or whatever is assignment number 3. For the question, you put the output. This one only this one. We will have the lab exam in the next week. Next week, 24th, I will put your lab exam.
In which lectures, Mr.?
I will tell you now. So let me just add this one here. Yeah, 2106 1SP section 10 lab exam. So your class time is 2 to 4, no? So what you will study for your lab exam? You study these topics which you have learned from the advanced PLSQL, advanced SQL, those things, how to create a function, how to create a procedure, how to create a package, how to create a trigger, and how to create a cursor. So I will give some topics here, any topics I can ask in the exam question. So you focus on these areas. So if I ask you to create a trigger on the table, you have to create a trigger. If I ask you to create a procedure on the table, so create a procedure. If you run that procedure, output should come. So if I ask you any question, that question answer should be there. Suppose example like question number one. So create a function to add two numbers to store marks in student table and display the output, display the total marks. You write here the create or replace function. Name of the function is like st mark something is or as. Then you declare, okay, and begin. Then you write the statements and then you write the PLSQL block. Try to access this one. Then what output you get here or in the online, take the output and put output as a snapshot in the Word file. The output, what this function will generate. So these commands you will exercise here. After you run that command, you will get the output. So that output you can put it as a answer, as a part of your output in the answers. So whatever exercises I give you, all the exercises you practice for triggers, for package, for procedures, for functions. I gave you all the tutorials. Search in your mails. Exercise them now. I gave you this one on. Nobody would have practiced. Know that. These all things. How to find the customer, total number of customers. How to create package. This is the body of the package. This is the way how you will access the procedure created above, finding the salary of the customer. So it's like this you practice triggers, you practice creating the triggers, updating the salary like that, this kind of triggers. Functions, procedures I gave you, not this one. How to create a function, how to access the function, how to create the procedure. So everything I gave you. So please practice that. Cursor also you practice. I gave that also during the triggers. So please practice these all things. Any questions you have, any practice doubts you have, you can do online in the Apex or in the SQL developer. Choice is yours. Give me your attendance. The time of attendance. Everyone will come. Huda Hami is present.
Yes.
Seham,
Yes, mister.
Muhammad. Muhammad, are you present? Still Muhammad sleeping. Saja,
Yes, Mister.
Hajar Al-Raimi,
Yes, mister.
Anwar, Anwar Al-Sadi, Anwar absent. She's also sleeping. Suraya,
Yes, mister.
Juhaina,
Yes, mister.
Rana,
Yes, mister.
Fatma Al-Jafri, Asala. Asala al-Balushi. Jawahar.
Yes, Mr.
Rashid al-Ghailani.
Yes, Mr.
Zion.
Yes, Mr.
Zainab al-Araimi.
Yes, Mr.
Osama.
Yes, Mr. Here.
Zainab al-Amri. Reem al-Jabri.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, Mr.
Mariam al-Mamari.
Yes, Mr.
Alia al-Harbi. Alia. Alia Mawjood.
Mr.
Hmm.
Asad, I am here. But the
Okay.
problem in the internet.
Okay. Alia. Then Sumaya.
Yes, Mr.
Asma.
Yes, Mr.
Yusra.
Yes, Mr.
Aisha.
Yes, Mr.
Basma.
Yes, Mr.
Khalud al-Jafri.
Yes, Mr.
Balkhis.
Yes, Mr.
Suad.
Mr. Also me. Yes, Anwar.
Okay. So all are present today. So please practice well. Okay. And get back to me. So any questions you have, you ask, otherwise we will close the session.